Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem El Shai, Ba'ashem El Rakar Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of All Well, and Shalom to the whole for elect. This is Paya Allah, and this is News and Prophecy News Update. Alright, and I got an article in from MSN or Sun Sentinel, which the title reads, "There's fentanyl in everything. Four new hospitalizations linked to fentanyl just days after spring breakers overdosed." Alright? Now, this is the Heavenly Father showing his hand. Alright? Why do I say that? Because for many years, alright, you had going back to really Esau, alright, being blessed with a sword, Esau, Edom, being known today as a so-called white man, he received the blessing of the sword, alright? And that's how he was going to establish his power, mainly by serving Jacob with that sword. Now, the sword comes in many diverse means. Remember, the sword that Esau was blessed with prior to that, it was known as a cunning hunter, alright? When you look up the word cunning, it goes back to the word yad, alright, hand, basically like a dab hand, expert. So he utilized the sword in various different means, right? Like today you have cyber warfare, you have which entails misinformation, propaganda, financial warfare, you got germ warfare, chemical warfare, you got physical warfare, and you got spiritual warfare. Alright, and this man exercises every domain of warfare because that's his blessing through the sword. Now, in doing so, he utilized that of chemical warfare upon the tribes, all right? Mainly utilizing, heroin. I'm saying like I'm American. Heroin, all right? And heroin and what's the other? Crack cocaine, all right? Abominable fluid, all right? Which they used to, free base, which they used to do in the 60s. But then obviously they saw, and this just shows you the characteristics that it started with Esau. Because Esau's a junkie, man. He's a weak sperm, all right? But he used to utilize that, and obviously he took it and pumped it into the neighborhoods, all right? After cocaine, it was crack cocaine, and he had the crack epidemic, all right? With Jake, starting with America, Babylon the Great, and the world over, man, basically got fucked up by crack, man. All right, you got, man, even all the way over here in the UK. I mean, it ain't far fetched. It's Esau runs the world. But I grew up with crackheads, Even today, if I walk outside my house, I'm gonna bump into a couple crackheads. All right. So this was an intention of Esau exercising the sword. Now this sword has come back on him. All right. They that take up the sword shall die by the sword. You live by it, you die by it. So this same thing that Esau used to establish his power is a cursed thing. All right, it's like the gift and a curse, which is now coming back to him. And this is why these spring breakers are overdosing. All right, because Esau's children now are turning to class A class, A1 junkies, man. All right, and this is the Heavenly Father working his spirit upon them. All right, rescuers are deeply troubled by what one called a cluster of fentanyl cases popping up in Fort Lauderdale after 10 people at 2 homes were hospitalized because of the potentially lethal drug fentanyl in a matter of 3 days. All right, fentanyl is deadly. Even a few granules the size of salt from a shake could kill you. All right, but Esau loves death, man. This man, that's why he's a thrill seeker. For men who, as I said, is a proud man who dwelleth at home. As another proverb in Sirach escapes me right now about danger. Let's see if I can even find it. See, Sirach 3:20. That's the spirit for what of y'all. But Shema Shabbat, Shema Rakar Kudash. All right. So it's Sirach 3:26. A stubborn heart shall fear evil, at the loss, and he that loveth danger shall perish therein. Alright? So reading on, 4 men were hospitalized Sunday after a medical emergency involving fentanyl. The Broward Sheriff's Office said Monday 2 of the men were found in respiratory arrest in the 1600 block of Southwest 40th Terrace in unincorporated Fort Lauderdale Battalion. Chief Michael Kane said detectives found drug residue at the residence. According to the Broward Sheriff's Office, testing determined the substances to be fentanyl. As of Monday afternoon, 3 of the men had been released from hospital. The men are ages 39, 30, 28, and 26. Sheriff's Office said 4 U.S. military academy cadets from West Point were among 6 people overdosed. So this shows you Esau, man. All right, this is the weak nature of the military, man. The military, the backbone of what established America. The valiant men that basically stepped on the shores of America, and didn't let their sword go back into its sheath a moment. All right, didn't take their finger off the trigger. All right, now they're overdosing on fentanyl. All right, and that really goes back to, Vietnam, and when they really pacified the people through the hippie movement. All right, which was the introduction of drugs into society with, smoking of weed, and different things of that, different substances. Okay, 4 U.S. military academies cadets from West Point were among 6 people who overdosed on fentanyl-laced cocaine at a rental home. Thursday, in Wilton Manors, the cadets were on spring break. One of the cadets is on the football team. All right, so this is meant to be a staunch footballer. All right, if any brothers have been into any form of athletics or sports or whatever, that's the last thing you want to be dealing with. All right, any foreign substances that ain't beneficial to your system. So it shows you the weakness. They probably shooting up roids as well, man. Horse tranquilizer and shit. Fentanyl is a dangerous synthetic opioid that is up to 100 times stronger than morphine. Damn. In its illegal form, it is often added to other street drugs, including cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine. Due to its potent effects, it is also often made into pills that closely resemble prescription opioids. All right. So, jump down. It says, we have seen an increase in these types of calls since the pandemic began. All right. So this pandemic is basically another blow to society. All right. Esau Edom society, because them not being able to go out and get, blasted off their head has fucked them totally up, man. It seems like a lot when we are 2.5 months into the year. A 2020 report from the Florida Medical Examiners Commission says the drug that caused the most deaths across the state was fentanyl. The drug was the cause of death of 5,302 people. All right, the overwhelming majority of fentanyl deaths, at 94.7%, were accidental. The annual report says the 2021 report has not been released yet. All right, so you can read the article. All right, it goes into it, and I'm sure these Edomites are dying in droves. All right. So let me hit you with some scriptures. Deuteronomy 30:7. And the Lord thy power, all right, is going into right now we're in a cursed state. Babylon the Great, all right, America the Great, the country that was created to be a prison camp for the tribes, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, 12 tribes of Israel, all right, it's coming to an end, all right, because the salvation is drawing nigh, okay? And this is what the Lord said he's going to do. And this is happening in the midst of where we're at right now, all right? It says, verse 7, and the Lord Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. All right, so these things that are happening to Esau Edom, all right, is basically a curse from the Heavenly Father. All right. Um, Let me quickly read this. It says the epidemic today is very different from the 1960s and 1970s. Garcia said the mortality rate is much higher. So the Heavenly Father is putting them curses out and they're going upon our enemies. Alright? So let me read this. Jump to Lamentations. No. We'll go Habakkuk first. So it's the book of Habakkuk 2 and 15 and 16. Woe unto them that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest that bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on his nakedness. And that was done mainly to the tribe of Gad, but also to Judah, Ben, all the tribes, man. Gilska Aaron had the song I Need a Bottle, alright? Which wine bibbers was a big thing, man, during this period, alright? And alcoholism is a staple within Jake's diet, man, of oppression, alright? So this is what Esau done by design. Thou art filled with shame for glory, alright? And that's why everything that Esau has in this world was done off the back of what? Rape, robbery, and murder, alright? And it's a shameful thing. That's why he's going into the education system and making sure that his history is being represented in a light that is favorable to him. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Alright, that's what's happening right now. It's being shown. Alright. So let me read might as well Lamentations, man. So this is the book of Lamentations. I'm gonna jump straight to the point. 4 and 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt be made and shalt make thyself naked. Alright, and this is the Heavenly Father lifting up his skirt, alright, pulling back the foreskin. He's being exposed, alright. That it's gonna come to the point where he's destroyed. The nations are gonna say, in accordance with prophecy, is this the man that made the earth tremble? Alright? Because this man is being exposed for the weakling that he is, the double tongue, and that's why all the nations right now, in accordance with Joel, the second chapter, alright, the third chapter, Salakia, are saying, it's basically coming to pass, let the weak say I'm strong. That's crazy. I just remember I used to sing a hymn like that in school, man, primary school. Went to a church in England primary school, so we used to have to wear, the uniform and sing hymns. And one of the songs, I ain't gonna sing it, man. I was about to sing. Basically, the lyrics was "Let the weak say I am strong," but I used to like that song a lot. I don't remember the lyrics, but I used to love. I just used to. That's why I remember. I remember that. I was gonna sing it because I used to like that hymn, right? But now I know when you got a spirit of understanding, I know why I liked it. It resonated with my spirit, all right? Because these nations are being risen up to bring the judgment of the Heavenly Father, all right? And usher in the coming of our kingdom. Verse 22, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And that's part of the curse that's coming upon them. And what's their sins? I'm gonna finish on this. I don't want to be here for the interest of time. It's the book of Nahum, the third chapter, verse 4 down to 7. It says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, alright, America, right, you sell it for, what's he going to go into? The mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations for whoredoms and families for witchcrafts. What's that? Americanism, alright, westernization, the image of the beast, where you have women buying into it, especially our women, right? They're running down the opportunity to be like, she saw, man, all right. And that's why witchcraft is on the rise, all right. You have a lot of women saying they're spiritual, man. There's a meme. It says, "Eat the devil's spiritual." So what do you mean when you say it's spiritual, all right? And that's the fact. They don't know that they're soothsayers, man, soothsaying, and engaging with foreign, familiar spirits, all right, which is off. and which is punishable by death, being burnt at the stake. All right, but it's Esau showing you that he's a demon, because what's he doing? He's basically come out, and they're saying they're apologizing for all the witches that were killed before. So they're making it acceptable in this generation. All right, they're trying to gather their power. Isaiah 47 tells you that, man. Stand down in thy enchantments from thy youth up. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. And this is what's happening right now. Right? These things are happening with the fentanyl, opioid epidemic. They're saying it's the Heavenly Father, putting Esau in the trash can, all right, in the bin, and rubbishing him, and basically ushering in the kingdom of heaven. No, cast verse 7, and it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste, who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? All right. So with that, I pray you're edified. To the next one. Shalom. Shalom.